of their lives. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, hello. For those that don't know me, I am Alderwoman Monet S. Wilson of the great 2nd Ward. This is our town hall. It is open to every ward, anyone that wanted to attend. I'm going to give about 10 minutes on certain topics, and then we're going to break down what we would do normally in a town hall. Speak about our infrastructure, speak about our budget, speak about the offerings of the city clerk, all of that. What I'm going to start on now, most of you have the letter that came when you came through the door. That is a letter that will be sent to your home in a professional format, but I wanted to make sure you had it here. I apologize for the messiness that many of you are thrown in the middle of. It is not our doing, but our tyrant toddler that keeps terrorizing this town through text messages and trash email. I wanted to convey that I have given my all to this ward, to this city. This is our 65th meeting in 4 years. 65 meetings outside of the regular 2 council meetings a month we have at City Hall. So I've had meetings in churches, meetings outdoors, meetings in restaurants, meetings in the park district, meetings at people's houses, meetings with bands, meetings with good food, meetings with not so good food, meetings with snacks. I tried to be who I wanted to see in leadership. And I don't know if that was enough. Because today, a lady said, oh, y'all just have meetings when it's time to run for office. And I'm like, honey. We've been meeting. We have a block initiative. We have an initiative where we have our pick up after your dog sign. We have a Department of Justice claim that is still open for being here. If you haven't gotten a snack, please do so. I'm going to introduce our next mayor, James Patton. I agree with your sentiment. Before I do that, and let him speak, because you know he likes to speak. When Biden left office, he signed a bunch of stuff, right? One of the things that he signed for us was for Dr. Nyota T. Figs. She got one of the last President Lifetime Achievement. And now, Mayor James Patton.
Well, thank you, Alderwoman Wilson. Thank you all for coming out tonight and giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I think I've spoken in front of a lot of you before, so I'm not going to take a ton of time because I'm sure you've heard me say the same thing over and over again for the last several months. But I am J.R. Patton. I am currently the 6th Ward Alderman here in Calumet City. I've been the 6th Ward Alderman for the last 8 years, and I am giving up my seat on the City Council to run for mayor this year. We've got an election coming up, for those of you that don't know, 6 days from right now. I'll be happy to get some sleep 6 days from right now. But the reason I decided to run for mayor is because I love this city. I have spent 8 years on the city council. I've spent 5 years before that working for the city administration. I ran our public works department for a while. I ran inspection services for a while. And I was city administrator for 3 years. And I've spent the last 4 years very frustrated at the direction this administration is taking our city. There's absolutely no reason that our neighbors in Lansing and South Holland, and Linwood, Homewood, and East Hazel Crest should be thriving while we here in Calumet City suffer. You drive down Torrance, Sibley, River Oaks Drive, whatever, Burnham Avenue in the 1st Ward, every business is boarded up. They're all vacant. Those communities are thriving. They're getting new business and new residents every day. And the only difference is they have responsible leadership in their city government, and we do not. We have department heads in this city whose only qualifications are who they're related to or who they're friends with. They have professional, qualified leaders in our neighboring communities. I'm going to put a stop to that practice here. We're gonna hire qualified people. We're gonna get Calumet City back on the right track. We're gonna get residents back in this community. We're gonna get business back in this community. And we're gonna get things moving in the right direction again, because Calumet City used to be the shining star of the Southland, and we're gonna get it back there again. So, with that, we'll take questions whenever Alderwoman Wilson wants us to take questions, but I just want to say again, thank you very much. If you haven't voted yet, please vote. Early voting is at the library until Monday, and Election Day is Tuesday. Please vote for me for mayor, our city clerk, and Yota Figs for re-election for city clerk, Aradia Clark over here for city treasurer. We've got Alderman Michael Navarrete for first ward alderman again. Obviously, our Alderwoman Wilson. Fifth ward alderman Juan Gardner, who's not here tonight, and then we have Dr. Garnett Stuckey, who's running to replace me in the 6th ward, and Melissa Phillips, who's running to be the 7th ward alderwoman. So thank you very much.
So I'm going to call everybody up individually so they can just give a brief introduction, and then we're going to roll into our meeting. Next is our President Award winning Lifetime Achievement City Clerk, Dr. Yota T. Figs.
Go ahead. Dr. Figs, we love you.
Okay, I'll make it quick. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you guys so much for coming out, especially in this very, very cold weather. Again, I want to apologize for everything you guys been getting in the mail and the text messages. I'm sure you guys are tired of us. We got 6 more days. Bear with us. It is a battle. So, I've been your city clerk since 2011, and one of the things that I want to say is that I'm qualified to be your city clerk. And at first I had a problem with saying that, but I can't. That's the truth. I'm qualified to be your city clerk. And I was doing it since 2011, and I think that I did a good job. I don't speak about opponents, but one of the things that I like to tell people, because I don't like to be messy, is that my opponent is on the ballot in April to keep her job with no opponent. So my opponent will be the Cook County Assessor in May with no opposition. One of the things that you guys did here in Calumet City is you talked about people double dipping. You talked about people having multiple jobs being paid for them. And you said that you did not want that. So you have to keep that in mind and be fair, because sometimes people like both people, and that's okay. That's not a problem. But sometimes we just have to be fair. So that's one of the things I want to say. In my years of being the city clerk, I have worked with J.R. Patton. He held a lot of positions, public works in the building department, and city administrator for a short time. One of the things that I know, and now alderman, one of the things that I know is that J.R. Patton will be fair. Everybody don't get along all the time, but you have to be able to work with the people that you may not get along with. That's important in government. Right now, it's politics over people. We need to get people over politics. We cannot do the job that we need to do for you when we're busy fighting each other. And that's just the truth. And it has been a lot of that for 4 years. That is one of the reasons why I endorsed you. Another reason that I endorse Ms. Aradia Clark over here is because currently we have a budget, and I have suffered these last 4 years with being able to use my budget as the city clerk. And I believe that every elected official is individually elected. No one is no one's boss. And when you compromise your position and your oath to do maybe what the mayor tells you to do, and it may be done in fear. So maybe the current treasurer is fearful of something, but maybe he don't want to be treated like me. That's the reason why I feel that I want to endorse Aradia Clark. I feel that she will be fair and she will follow the rules and regulations. I've sat on this board with Alderman Navarrete. When I tell you this is the best infrastructure alderman ever, he knows what he's talking about. He knows the businesses in Calumet City. He hit the ground running. I endorse him completely 100%. He's somebody that we need on our team. And of course, the fabulous Alderwoman Monet S. Wilson. Who keeps me entertained. That's personal. However, she's very knowledgeable. She calls me early and late, no respect for time, to figure out what it is she needs to figure out. And so when I tell you that she's excited and passionate about her job as an alderwoman and is always coming up with different ideas and innovative things, I'm like, we doing this again? We having another meeting? You know, so I probably shouldn't say that because she's proud of her 65 meetings. I was tired at 35, but let her have it. We have Melissa and Dr. Stuckey, and I've known these two women for quite some time. They are hardworking residents in the community. This is a great team. Together, we will be able to work for the city council and put people over politics. That is so important. It is time for us to work for you. Every dollar, dime, penny that we spend is about you. And when our time is somewhere else and it's not focused on you, we are wasting your money. So please get to the polls, have your friends get to the polls, have your neighbors get to the polls, and make sure that you make a conscious decision based upon everything you have seen in this election cycle. Because you've never seen politics like this in Calumet City until this administration. And I know that you all know that. And it's not that we probably didn't have arguments before, it's that they were done appropriately. And they were done decent and in order. And we had disagreements, and then we came together and we found solutions. Please, please pay attention to what's going on. And I pray that you vote the right way. My way. No, I'm just playing.
She's not playing. I'd like to briefly acknowledge our Deputy Clerk, Quentin Daly. Yes,
We love you, Deputy. We love you.
and first dude of the Second Ward, Cortland D. Wilson. Episcopal Vicar, Pastor Christopher Montgomery, thank you for opening up this. Thank you. I am going to ask that we offer a donation if we can, either electronically or in cash to the church. Here is why. This mayor terrorizes everybody that helps anybody that is in opposition, even the church. There are things the church needs and repairs the church needs. But to send or threaten a church with inspectors because he allows me to use the church as a safe haven for our ward is shameful, disrespectful, and disgraceful. So we have to start helping the people that help us. Having said that, I'm going to bring up our next treasurer, who will be our first female treasurer and first African-American treasurer, Aradia Clark.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I know I can speak loud. I raised the son. Okay, so my name is Aradia Clark, and yes, I have been living in Calumet City for 34 years. I grew up at 339 Calhoun, and I bought my house at 402 Calhoun. So I've been out here all my life. Raised my son out here. He went to Caroline Sibley, Dirksen, Thornwood, raised them on Calhoun too. So I've been out here all of my life. I have seen the disinvestment. I came out here at a very young age when I would come out here as a young child from the inner city, and we would drive through here to come and visit my grandmother. It was just so amazing to see. All the strip malls and the restaurants and things that were down. I remember Red Lobster used to be on Sibley right there in Dalton. I remember the Ponderosa. I remember all of these things that used to be out here. Like, I've been out here. We used to walk from Halsted to State Lines and back when I was a teenager and a young kid going to Dirksen and Thornwood. When I tell you, I have friends that was of all nationalities, races, and backgrounds. We had Hmong friends, Mexican friends, white friends, black friends, Jamaican friends, Haitian friends. We had them all.
Ooh, come on, Haitian.
We was out here. So to watch my community that raised me, decline in economic development, decline in home ownership, decline in business development, while I sit and serve as the Rich Township Chamber of Commerce treasurer. So that's the opposite side of us. Those the parks and the fields, right? Olympia Fields, Tinley Park, Richmond Park, Matson, all of those areas that seemingly get all the dollars, they get all the development, they seemingly have a larger, a huge drumbeat of information and resources that seemingly just poured out on them, right? Their elected officials move when the business owners say move. When the residents come together, they move and when they say. Where are the block grants that you can rally to make sure that the streets and the HVAC and the waterways are done? What can you do to make sure that the small business grants are coming down to your community so you can see development in your community? That's what I want to bring as the treasurer of Calumet City, is what I'm currently doing in the parks and the fields. And then I get to come home and see what I see when I drive. And I tell them I serve here, y'all, but I don't live here. I need some of this drumbeat where I live. I talk to the small business development centers and the Southland Development Authorities and the Women's Business Development Center, and I'm like, hey, y'all missing a whole demographic of people, a whole region of people. It's missing this information that can help us grow so that we can have that leverage, right? We can push our elected officials, our commissioners, the Board of Review commissioners, the electoral board, all these people, when they go to Springfield and they rally for dollars to come to the communities, we know who those people are, so when they come back, we can say, where it's at. But if you're clueless, there's no pushback. If you're clueless, you're not going to hold anyone accountable for the dollars that's been allotted for you. You live in a certain demographic community. Yes? That means the government gives you money because of that demographic community. Yes? Why is the dollars not being invested? Grant dollars is public information. Do you know how to look that money up? Those are the things that need to be given to you as tools and resources to make sure that the tax dollars you spend can go back to your community. So as treasurer, my goal is to show you where those dollars are, how to get those dollars, how to exercise those dollars to make sure that when you drive through your community, you can see that the ripple effect of you having access to that information. You being able to put that information to work in your community and help sustain it. We've had just as many businesses close their doors here in Calumet City than so-called has been open. One of my favorite stores, Smooth Ginger, the smoothie place, a health food store, had to close her doors and go back into her home because there are no resources here. Church, there's a capital infrastructure grant going on right now to help the church rebuild. If you want to buy a building, if you want to expand, the grant money is available now. Does anybody know that? Did you know that the government gives you free assistance to apply? Free assistance to help you get government contracts? Did you know that? It's free. And they're keeping that from you. Why? Because to keep you silent is to keep their back pockets full. So I ask for your vote. If you have not voted, please vote. My goal, and I get on their nerves. I can't let them. Y'all emails with Alderwoman, get it to somebody so I can get it, because we about to be getting this information to you. You about to know who your commissioners are. You about to know who appropriates the dollars. You about to know all the programs. You about to have all the courses, all the information. All you got to do is show up, because it's free.
Can you also tell them about your after hours?
So if you are a business owner interested in business, or if you just want to make sure businesses have enough money to share the tax roll with you as a taxpaying homeowner, we have a business after hours that's free at Pete's Sports Bar coming up this Friday. It's free. We're going to have some food. Business owners from the Southland are going to be there so you can collaborate with them. But we want to make sure that we bring the business owner into the community, into the conversation. because as I witnessed on the opposite side of the Southland, the business owners are in the room, the state reps are in the room, the mayors are in the room, the high schools are in the room, the community colleges are in the room, the universities are in the room, the senators are in the room, the commissioners are in the room. They're all in the same room. Every surrounding community, Matson, Tinley Park, Olympia Fields, Richmond Park, all of them, they're in the same room pushing the region forward. They're all in the room. I got picked.
Hopefully, she'll get a spot in South Suburban College. But right now, that will be another business that sits vacant. As I go get coffee, I'm going to bring up the man that sits to my right on council. He keeps the numbers in order for me. The infrastructure expert.
I would like for you to address the 90 businesses that was on the mailers since you were infrastructure. Right. I was just saying.
Alderman Michael Navarrete. Y'all again, he haven't said nothing for y'all to give him all that glory.
Thank you, Monet, and thank you, JR, and thank you, Clerk, and I think the Treasurer. I'm not really good at being, I guess, public speaking and being in front of an audience to talk about election. I'll just say the facts, right? I look at things, right, read them, and just kind of take it in and try to make the best decision that I can. It's hard sometimes, not everything's black and white. We get a lot of things to read. Every 2 weeks we have a regular city council meeting. We have 600 pages of supplemental information that goes with every agenda item that's on there. Also with a bill list of about 300 items sometimes. And an Excel sheet, so it's a lot to look at. It's a lot to look at, find backup for and review. So I try to do my best and try to make the best decision. When I was first elected, thriving, River Oaks was thriving. We had a thriving Little League baseball team for the youth. I was involved in all those things, right? So we had 3 Catholic churches. I attended St. Victor School when it was around. We no longer have any Catholic schools in town. So we look at housing. I'm kind of focused on what's going on economic development-wise and what's going on with the housing. Industrial cleanup, so power plant demolitions, steel mill demolitions, kind of design and oversee those types of demolitions. And a lot of the time, those things are being demolished and there's a huge development that goes in its place. So I kind of understand the process and kind of how things need to go. Also being raised, my mother was lucky enough here to raise us here and not have to work, so I had a stay-at-home mother. So we were very frugal growing up. So when I look at our Economic Development Fund and our TIF funds, and I see, that we have, 4 or 5 million in those funds, I want to make sure that we get the best bang for the buck when we spend those. So the first 4 years as alderman, I spent designing, commissioning studies for Burnham Avenue, for State Street, and just the town center in general in the first ward. The first ward was the original Calumet City, West Hammond back then. So it's very old infrastructure, and that's why you see a lot of the city services there, the VFW, the post office, Memorial Park, a lot of resources in the first ward there around City Hall. That was the original Calumet City, and it grew to the west and grew south. So a lot newer neighborhoods here in the second ward and sixth ward. You see that newer housing, more uniform housing, where it's a little different in the fifth and first ward, near St. Andrew Church and St. Victor Church. You see a lot of older housing stock, vacant homes and vacant lots. So what we did in the first term, with the support of the City Council, was commission the Burnham Plan. It has 8 recommendations. You can find it on the city's website. Lane diet similar to Ridge Road was one to try to recreate that downtown feeling. To start acquiring properties along Burnham Avenue. The biggest issue with Burnham Avenue is that a lot of the businesses have back taxes. So a business owner is not going to spend $200,000 to clear the back taxes and then have to invest another $100,000 to bring the building up to code, and then have to pay a significant amount of property taxes to have the business there. So the businesses, once they get to a certain point of back taxes, are never going to have anyone come buy them, right? With $200,000, $300,000 in back taxes, no one's ever going to buy that property. So what we looked at with doing was setting up a framework and an infrastructure through ordinances to create, to acquire these properties through an abandonment process. We could act as a land bank. Now we found that it costs the city about $10,000 to acquire a property. So we can purchase this property now for $10,000 in legal fees to clear the deed, and now the city has the deed. And now we can convey that to a business owner with an agreement that they're going to bring this building up to code within a year. And we can offer them a Class A tax incentive, which, or at least support that for the Cook County so they can get half off their property taxes. Right, so that's this framework and the system that's going to work, right, to re-engage business owners and developers to want to come to Calumet City. The issue is, it's been a year and a half. The mayor has slow played trying to do a search for a new economic development director. We have approved the search for a new economic development director, but it's been 8 months now, and we still have not been able to pay the first payment to start that process. Again, it's very important, right? We have $4 million, we had $8 million in economic development funds, $4 million through bond, and $4 million through our tips. That was 4 years ago when this administration started. Now we have $4 million left. $4 million of economic development funds were spent, and I'm not quite sure where it was spent on. Where do we spend $4 million at? And I'm just afraid that another 4 years of this, we'll have $0 in economic development funds, and we won't be able to attract any. We had a lot of engineers and urban planners look at this at universities and through CMAP and all the agencies here in the government, in the state and in Cook County, and they all agree on these recommendations. Why have we not executed any of these recommendations over the last 8 years? Green Alleys was one of them, right? But we all know who took credit for that. And again, not that the Green Alley is not important, but there's also there's a lot of important other recommendations in there, like buying up Burnham Avenue and clearing the back taxes and making sure we engage with developers to make sure that we can redevelop and make economic sense for them to come, right? The State Street plan, the same thing. We all know State Street's filled with potholes, we all know that that's the worst street in town. It's a state-owned road. The State Street plan started in the first ward, just to rebuild the first ward. It's not rated for truck traffic, stretching the entire length, which is a good thing. Now it's more engineering, more planning. We got an $800,000 grant. WSP engineers were granted that to do a study for a full interchange now. So it's only a half interchange on State Street, Dalton Road. So you'll see a full interchange now on Dalton State Street Road, and also State Street being rebuilt. Again, a good thing, but again, it's now 2-3 years in the future now that we'll start to see that State Street project happen. The biggest thing now on State Street, we got awarded $4 million for the State Street plan also to clear out trees and create new land with infrastructure with sewer and water so that more businesses can come. We have H.B. Taylor back there underneath the Burnham Bridge, if you're familiar, and Gelita down there. They've all committed to expand their operations now, so we'll have more jobs there, and they'll be expanding their operations on State Street. So the vision for State Street is to be light industrial, food processing. We lost Meat by Lentz, but we were able to work with them, and they were able to be good community partners. They found a replacement before they left. So Reyes Meats now is going to be going into the Meat by Lentz location, and they're the same kind of meat processing business like that was there. But again, we have to be able to collaborate to do these things. And we have to be able to talk about these things, and we have to be able to understand exactly how much money we have. We don't have $190 million in grants over the last 4 years. I don't know where that number came from. No one can tell me where it came from, but when we pass our budget, every year, there's a line, a section that says intergovernmental revenues. And we get about $2 to $3 million a year, which is good, under the 2 administrations I've been a part of over the 8 years I've been over. We get the COPS grant every year. It's a federal grant, $1 million for the police department, right? It's something that we just get every year that the police department gets. So that's $1 million, and then we get $3 million, just depending on what grants we apply for that year. But again, we have to be able to spend this money wisely and be able to communicate and collaborate on how we're going to spend this money. What's the best way to spend the money, right? When you're not allowed to talk to the economic development department, when you're not allowed, to talk to the commissioner of public works, When you're not allowed to talk to any department heads unless the mayor approves you to talk to them, and if he doesn't like you, then he never approves you to talk to them, how are we supposed to collaborate and make things happen? You know, under Mayor Michelle, in my first term, I disagreed with her on things, right? She would beg me to vote on things and I wouldn't. But the very next day I would walk into City Hall, I'd peek in her office, she'd be talking to someone, she would kick them out and bring me in there and we'd talk about the next issue that's facing the city. For me to disagree with this man and not be allowed now to even go upstairs into City Hall as an alderman, not allowed to go upstairs and talk to the Economic Development Department or the Purchasing Department or the Mayor's office, and I can only stay downstairs and talk and go into the Treasurer's office or the Clerk's office. It's a toxic environment, right? It's an environment where we're siloed, right? We can't get things done, right? I look forward, you know, I look forward to working with JR. I look forward to working with qualified folks that we can collaborate with, that we can get good ideas, engage the community, and put out facts, because it's not all roses all the time, right? We have tough decisions to make, right? We all agree on one thing, is public safety, right? That's something everyone always agrees on. But it's hard, you know, we've approved to hire 18 more police officers we have, right? But we can't hire them quick enough that they're retiring, right? But we're trying our best, right? So we are up police officers, we all support those types of things. We can come together on public safety. But issues like economic development and the funds that we have, right, it's a slippery slope. If we can't attract developers and business owners, and we can't get more population, and we can't get this housing figured out and businesses to come back in, and we can't highlight the good things about the city, then we're going to be in a really, really bad spot in 4 years, right? And it scares me a little bit, right? We could be very, very good if we all work together and we can be honest with each other and just talk and have conversations and spend money wisely, right? And that's all I want to do, and I think this team will support that, and I'm excited for this team, and I really hope that everyone comes out to vote. I'll just leave with saying one last thing. It shocks me to say that people come out, 10,000 residents come out to vote for the president, and only 3,000 people come out and vote for the mayor and the city council. The mayor and city council has more impact on your lives than the president does, I would say, especially right now. So anyone that you know, you need to get them out to vote. Either early vote or vote on Tuesday at the polling place. It is so important. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for the time.
This title no clause whenever I say I don't want him to think he on that the second word. It's always the ones that say they don't talk a lot that he talking about. So the couple of things that I heard him say, and he was an integral part of the state road. So if you've gone down State Street, you've lost the tire, almost lost the tire, or fallen in the ditch of a pothole. So that's coming. A lot of what you see being fixed are legacy projects. Those were things that he worked on with Mayor Michelle in 2017, 2018, 2019. And it's just coming to fruition now. And it's like you doing some work around your house and then selling your home, and a new homeowner is showcasing all the work you did. That's what's happening here. We haven't had anything done under this current administration. My colleagues have been very nice. I'm not so nice. The clerk, her opponent is the Thornton Township assessor right now. And we voted where we do not want a state representative to also be a mayor. Do we want a township assessor being our city clerk? You assess levies or pretend to assist us with our taxes on our properties. She's also on the Cook County Abatement Board. If you look at your tax bill, there's an abatement tax for that. She's on the school district, local 149, so if you're on my side of town, she's on that school board. There's a tax for that. You're already levying taxes on these two boards, plus you're the assessor. Now you want to be the city clerk? We have to say no. No. We do not remove people out of their offices just because you may like somebody. You keep people in their office economic development director he spoke of? Where? She is the chief of staff for a state representative job. She's the library board president, but we have a library with notebooks and computers. She's the president of the small business chamber for Calumet City. We don't have anything. But the most important thing is she co-signed those slanderous, nasty letters with her face on them that came to our mailboxes. I don't argue with black women in politics. I do not argue with black women, period. I would never put my face on something that was slanderous like that. But she was okay with it. And that entire slate was okay with it. I am going to bring up the next alderwoman of the 6th Ward, Dr. You have to say it like that, Dr. Garnett Stuckey. When I was sworn in 4 years ago, I made it a point to say I am the first, but I will not be the last. And I will support women who want to venture into this male-dominated atmosphere. It's not easy. But Dr. Stuckey is up for the challenge. Come on, Dr.
I am. Good evening, everyone. I am very excited to be here. I'm very excited to talk to you tonight. I just want to share a little quick story about myself. In 1997, I was... In 1997, I was driving down Arthur Street in Calumet City with my realtor, and he pulled into the prettiest house on the block, and I looked at that house, and my daughter, who was getting ready to start high school, she grabbed my arm and she said, I want this house. So I made sure she got that house. And every day after I got home, after work, and I'd come home and I turned down from 159th Street onto Arthur, I had this sense of calm, this sense of peace. And over the years, that sense of peace has been less and less and less. One morning, around 8 o'clock in the morning, a young guy came up my driveway and he shot at the house behind mine. And I just have this feeling of unsafe. I don't like that feeling. I want to feel safe again in my community. And so I started asking questions, like, what happens between the birth and the bullet? When I think about this team, all of the skill sets that have been shared with you tonight, I would just add my own. And as a social worker and a community psychologist, I am very good at building relationships. I am very good at anticipating what is needed in the community for our families. And I have this vision of a team approach. In my
bite off of our vision of we, but we're gonna let it happen. Next up is
Okay,
with
guys.
a promise present.
Is that
The
it?
next 7.
Running has brought more of the ugliness into my eyesight.
Should be working.
And I'm
Okay,
really
we'll see.
emotional
Thank you.
because I know what people are trying to do. And I want to be a part of that too. Because I think Calumet City could be amazing. Because we were amazing up until 4 years ago. So why can't we get that now? Well, it's because of the administration that's there now. I'm going to ask everyone here to please, if you haven't voted, go out and vote. If you know someone that has not voted, please, I'm begging you to have them go out and vote, because we've got to get that current administration out. Because if we don't, it'll be worse than it is now. So I am a little emotional, so I'm going to end with, I promise to be present. I promise to be the voices that everyone needs. And I want to bring back the unity in the community.
There it is. Again, second ward, a little too much. What I heard was the alderwoman no longer has to be the emotional one because second ward alderwoman is going to be that person. Yes, I'm excited. I thank you for your passion. And I believe this is the team to bring civility back to governance. You don't have to be disagreeable just to disagree. You don't have to be at war because we have differences of opinion. Our elected duty is to protect the purse of this city, which are your dollars. Which are your dollars. So if you don't want jazz on the grass every other Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you don't want $67,000 in turkeys, you don't want $52,000 in a newsletter full of pictures, like we can't read words, then that's what we are here to do, be your voice for that. Alderman Patton wanted to say some more words. As he comes up, I do want to acknowledge independent candidate for Thornton Township Supervisor Nate Fields. Now, I acknowledge everybody that puts their hat in the ring to serve us. So if any of the candidates were here, I would announce them as well, but I wanted to make sure that I spoke.
Thank you so
ECU
much.
Nate Fields Jr.
I just wanted to say one more thing, because as my colleagues got up here and spoke, something else dawned on me. You know, there was a lot of talk about civility and truth, and you know, I spoke earlier about responsible government. And I would like to say I apologize to all of you as well. You all have been subjected to 6 weeks of some really nasty stuff back and forth. And I'm going to take ownership for the part that we have played, my campaign has played, in fueling into some of that, right? So when my wife and I sat down 11 months ago and started talking about the possibility of me running for mayor, the first thing we had to do was sit our then 5 and 12-year-old sons down and say, if Dad decides to do this, you guys need to understand that you may see some very nasty, very untrue things said about your father. I shouldn't have had to do that to my kids, but that's the way it is because I knew who I was running against. When we got into the heat of things, things that have been said about me for the last 4 years have been said. If you guys get the mayor's text messages, you've seen it. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to dignify it. I'm also not going to stand here and say the Irish side of me hasn't gotten my back up a couple times and snapped back. But the difference is the things I say are true. They may be a little bit nasty or snarky at times, but they're true. When I say things like, I live here, the mayor doesn't, it's true. I do live here, and for anybody that wants to question that, as I've told everybody as I've gone throughout the city, come home with me tonight, I'll show you the dishes in the sink the 13-year-old was supposed to do 2 nights ago, you can help me finish it. But I know it's been a long election season, there's been a lot of mail back and forth, there's been a lot of texts back and forth. It's very important to me that we tell the truth during these times, and at times the truth's not pretty. So for me, not only do I have to tell the community who I am, I also at times have to point out what's going on and why we need to replace the mayor and why we need a new direction forward. Sometimes that might come out and sound angry. Sometimes that might come out and sound mean. I don't intend it to be that way. I don't intend to get in a food fight in the cafeteria in front of the whole community. So if anything I have said or our campaign has put out has tired you or offended you or made you feel like this has got to stop, I don't want to be a part of this nastiness, I apologize for that. But thank you again all for coming out and giving us the opportunity tonight.
Full transparency, he sent that Valentine's Day text. I said, J.I., I don't like that. My Lord don't like that. We don't do that. But I understood it because he was being attacked. Now, what he hasn't said was he was taking his child to daycare, and he was carjacked at gunpoint. He could have left right then, and he decided to stay, fulfill this term, plus run for mayor. I'd be gone. Look, if I had that $247,000 that he keep talking about, I love y'all, but 403 Hoxie would be for sale. I'd be gone. It's unfair that my son goes to bed and wakes up to gunshots. It's unfair that my child has to say, Mama, I ordered something from Amazon. Please check the porch, because he didn't want nobody to steal it. It's unfair that my college kid can't come home, because nothing good happens when college kids come home to Chicago. So if I had $247,000,
Be gone.
bye. I would love y'all from a distance. I do also want to encourage you to spread the word on voting by mail, early voting until the 24th, election day. In 3 days, second ward, only 44 people have voted. This is a numbers game. My husband won his school board election, and then township assessor came in with mail-in ballots and beat him by 2 votes. So this is a numbers game. I don't care how much you like the people up here, if we don't come out and vote, we have lost. If we don't come out and vote, you got more $67,000 turkeys and $52,000 picture book in your mail. Right now, the overtime for some of our departments is outrageous because they are campaigning for this current administration. We're paying for the other team to get out there voting. I've never seen so many houses on a list to clear snow. It's over 400 houses on the list. We got a bill the other day. If you go back and watch Thursday's council meeting, which was very quick.
Yeah.
It was very quick. I was late because I was searching for the 166 businesses.
So what happened to the snow? They didn't come out.
They didn't come out.
They have not done it.
And those houses that were done were not done
In our ward.
the right way. And it's because they're getting helpers. Because our season staff, they're union workers. They can only work so many hours. They can only work so many days. And 400 houses in 7 wards, that's a lot. We don't have that kind of equipment to get out there. And it's a liability. And I asked Public Works, I said, when did we start doing driveways? Because if you walk out to your driveway and you slip and the city did it, you are now suing the city. Now, if you take that information, decide to slip and sue the city, holler at your girl, because I don't have a 247 in this area. We're going to start opening up for questions if you have a question. If you need a break and need a snack, please take the snacks. Anybody have a question or a concern? The councilwoman from East Hazelcrest that has our casino, what would you like to say? This is my mother, Trustee Maureen Forte.
I'm quiet.
We didn't ask you to come up now.
Hi, good evening. I'm Alderwoman Monet Wilson's mom. But I just want to say, on behalf of Fannie Lou, I'm tired and sick and tired. I want to compliment Mr. Pat because he's given up a position that he's not guaranteed to win. But we're planning for him to win. I want to commend him because he is dedicated to Calumet City. Anytime you give up a job to run for a higher position to represent the people, that's a commitment. So this is a vote. Alderwoman Monet Wilson grew up in a family of civil rights. We don't take no stuff. All this bickering and crap that the mayor has put out, it reflects back on when I ran for office and Frank Zuccarelli was a crook then, and he can be rolling as a rotisserie chicken right now because he remains a crook. He was dirty, and all I see as my daughter and this board run is Frank Zuccarelli. I mean, it's ridiculous. The clerk here, Dr. Yoda Biggs, is well known throughout the state of Illinois. She's young, she's educated, and all the clerks love her because she's about the business of helping people. I do the phone calls, I do the phone things, and I mention everybody's name here. So everybody here that lives on the block, I'm asking you to go and ask all your neighbors to exercise their right and vote for this whole team. Sam Cooke said a change is about to come, and we need a change. Alderwoman Monet Wilson spoke earlier, and she only had one voice. It only takes one. It only takes one voice. Rosa Parks with that one. I commend all of you. Thank you.
Full transparency. My mother made 10 phone calls.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Mom.
all of a sudden she the whole phone making team.
She there. She there for you.
I don't know nothing about the business.
Anybody have any other questions? Anything about your alleys? Anything about infrastructure? Anything about it?
We have a question back here.
Okay. If you could say your name and not your whole address, just your street. Because we gang on the streets.
Yeah, my name is Linda, and I've been here 34 years. I've never seen this thing. The alley is terrible.
Oh, okay.
Just hold it closer. Can you hold the mic a little closer?
And I've been here 34 years. I've never seen it this bad. I go to work every morning at 5 o'clock. The alley is terrible. People walking in the alley, digging in the garbage cans. That's bad. I see Mexican people. I see them all. Everybody. They digging in the garbage cans, drinks wine. I'm like, boy, you can't do that. It's bad. We don't have enough. I want to move. Then I say, no. My house is safe. I want to stop working. And I say, no. The good Lord put me here on earth to take care of people. I did it all. 18 years I did dialysis, putting the patient on the kitchen machine every morning at 5 o'clock, coming out of my house. Hospice, I did that for 10 years. Harvey, I worked there with the drug babies and all kind of babies at that place. Now I'm with the mental psych patient. I see everything out here in Calumet City when I'm going to work at 5. It's really bad. I don't even want to live here anymore. But my mother is 85 and she got dementia. So I have to stay here to take care of my mother. So Calumet City is going down. They tell us to vote for this and vote for that. When we do it, we the fight. That no, you want to talk about that. I'm just saying that.
No, thank you. Because unless we start hearing that, we don't know. And even when we know, under this administration, it becomes if I like you, then I'll do your ward. If you agree with me on this, like, I think we have the majority of the people who said, no, we don't want a $12 million increase in our garbage contract. So we voted it down. Then we got attacked for it. The mayor put his personal phone number out in a robocall.
Yeah.
You know, these are part-time positions, but we are full-time parents. And I will soak this earth for the protection of mine. And I would do that, especially JR's, because his kids look like my kids. Okay.
I need to ask 2 things.
Yes, Ms. Black.
One, as far as the snow removal, do you have to sign up every year, put your name on the list to have, as far as senior citizens? Do they have to sign up every year to have the snow removed?
So I'm going to tell you, in the past, no. prior to this administration, every alderman did their own snow removal. When I ran and was doing snow removal. So I wanted to keep that up. The mayor decided to take it over, and it became his campaign thing. But then, depending on who you are, your house may not get done. And depending on if you have a sign for any one of these people up here, they may skip your house. But that's what we have to go in that voting booth and say, bye-bye, you got to go, because my tax money pays for every machine out here. And so there is no reason to resend a list year after year. But for 4 years, I've sent the list. I've even put it on the agenda one year, so it appears, if you go on the city website and pull up the meeting minutes, the city clerk has it on the agenda where I have everybody's address. This year, I submitted 65 houses to be cleared with snow. And I'm having to go back in the morning and text the commissioners and say, hey, this wasn't done, or this wasn't done properly, or Mrs. Franklin almost fell coming out her house. Let's get this together.
I didn't see anybody removing any snow on any street.
We do not have the workforce to clear 400 houses. We just don't. And the people that are doing it are not our skilled workforce from Public Works. Those fellows are on the plows, on the big machinery, making sure our thoroughways are clear, and not the residential blocks so much, and not the driveways and sidewalks. If you go to any other community, though, they're not out there shoveling snow for constituents. That is part of home ownership. But when you offer it, it better be done. And that is the problem I have. We are offering services that we're not following through with. Oh, I'm sorry, you said it was two things.
Hold on, a quick question. The street, 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Is that street ever gonna get paved?
In 2021, I had an engineering study and report, and I still have that report. It is not about repaving. Your actual sewer is caving in. And they've known it since 2021. So if it caves in, I have the report, and we all have a good lawsuit. Remember, I'm with you. So when we sue, we have a lawsuit. But the sewer is caving in the middle of the street. So that sewer needs to be replaced, and then the actual infrastructure needs to be dug up. And I'll send you the report. I don't know if I've ever said, you've seen it. It needs to be replaced, redone. Because it's an amusement park, a roller coaster ride on your street.
What street is that?
That's Herbert Breaklow. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for hosting this tonight. I just wanted to get some more clarification around the property taxes. I know that was mentioned a couple times and how it's highway robbery, but can anybody elaborate on what your steps you would take should you be elected?
So I want to make sure that everyone knows that the elected officials on the municipal level have nothing to do with your property tax. We, as a council, have not approved an increase in the municipality's portion of property taxes. And that is why in the second ward we opened a Department of Justice claim. Because under housing and urban development, it is illegal to keep certain demographics out of certain areas. And so what I have proposed is that the new redlining, and I just saw that and I was just like, did they know about my claim? Because on the news before I left home, they were talking about it. The new redlining is reverse redlining. We can move in neighborhoods, but we can't get out because of our property taxes. So there has to be some federal oversight on how the county and the state assesses our property taxes based on the funding of schools. We are funding schools that are poor in performance, overcrowded, and the funding is unfair. It's not consistent across the board. And we don't have businesses help alleviate some of those tax burdens. I know we love our restaurants, but there's not much having a bunch of taco shops and fried chicken shacks is going to do for your taxes. When you have 800 vacant businesses, hair shops are cash based, so it's hard to prove what sales tax they're getting. I haven't received a report over what the weed man on Torrance is making. That marijuana. We're supposed to be making money off of that. And so when we don't get that, then we are covering the burden of what we're lacking and bringing in revenues. And if anybody would like to speak to that.
Yeah, I would just like to add to that. So, as Alderwoman Wilson said, the municipality is a fairly small portion of your property tax bill. Okay, so like 34 cents of every dollar you pay in property taxes comes back to us. The majority of it goes to your school districts. With that being said, there are a number of things that we can do as a municipality to keep our portion in check. And the biggest thing is to spend the tax dollars we get from you responsibly. So when this administration came in 2021, the city's budget the prior year was $36 million. The first budget proposed by Mayor Jones was $43 million. We don't have the kind of money to sustain that kind of spending. Last year, the city spent $3.5 million more than we brought in revenue. And while the city hasn't had to raise our portion of taxes in at least a decade, longer than that, if we keep spending like that, $3, $4, $5 million a year more than we bring in, there's going to be no choice but to raise our portion of the taxes because we're going to run out of money. If you just imagine if you did that at home, if you spent 3.5 times more than you brought in, you'd have to go get money from someone. And so the first thing that we can do to make sure that we're being responsible and that the city is taking care of your tax dollars responsibly is to spend the money responsibly and to say, you know what, Jazz on the Grass is really nice, but we can't afford a $90,000 stage. We can't afford $25,000 a week in performances and overtime for public works to do these shows every week. We can't afford $55,000 for a newsletter that's just a bunch of pictures of things that never got done anyway. We can't afford all of these other things that are going on while our streets are collapsing and our sewers are collapsing and our water lines are breaking left and right and our alleys aren't getting graded and all of these other things. And so we have to do what we can to be responsible with the dollars that we have so that your taxes don't go up even more than they already are.
And before you say, I want to say also, one of the things that I was working on, and I actually submitted, and I was happy when Assessor Cagey came to Calumet City, is a circuit breaker system. One thing that I am accused of is being a Republican, but hey, they don't pay the taxes we pay, so I go in their neighborhood and I figure out what y'all doing and we're not. And they have a circuit breaker system in Northwest Indiana that caps insurance, it caps property taxes at a certain level. Is everything okay back there? Oh, the person that's running the audio is up there. And so there's a circuit breaker system. It caps property taxes at a certain income level. That's how when you go across the border, you can get a $200,000 house that has 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and paying what you're paying for your 3-bedroom single-family home, because the tax bases are different and the way they assess value. One of the other things I want to make sure that you understand, when you go to the Thornton Township assessor, she is filling out information for you to send to Cook County and the Board of Review. They are not lowering your taxes. A township cannot lower your taxes. So Larry Rogers' office takes that in consideration and makes you bring comparables, where show me another house on your block that is lower in taxes, that is comparable to yours. You have to do a lot of research in order to qualify for lower taxes, and then even then you may not get it. We have to start researching and coming to meetings, holding people accountable. I don't want to see any more people lose their homes. We worked really hard to get these houses. And we gotta work just as hard to keep them.
How you doing, everybody? I've been a resident of Cal City. I'm 29, so I've been a resident for the last 26 years. More so concerns, not questions. Just wanted to piggyback off what you said. The neighborhood has definitely drastically changed. Mr. Navarrete, I heard you speak on the Little League program that was thriving when you, a couple of years ago, when I was a kid, I was in the T-ball program. It was thriving. I don't see that going on anymore. Mr. Patton, I'm not familiar with you, however, your wife, Molly, she raised me, so to speak, in the Park District. So I'm used to, I was one of those kids, I still stay in the second ward, but I was one of those kids who rode my bike over to TF North, all the way on the other side of Cal City, and I just don't see stuff like that anymore. You don't see kids on bikes, you don't see them in the backyard shooting basketball, you don't see them at Caroline Sibley playing football anymore. We don't even have a playground in Caroline Sibley anymore. I stay on a senior-driven block, so a majority of my neighbors are probably like, they've been passing within the last couple of years, so to speak. So the houses are vacant. The squatting has gotten so bad to the point where myself and my neighbors, we have to park in the vacant driveways just so that people coming around think that people live there. So they won't try to come in and take over our neighborhood. It's crazy. Finding a job, I have to work all the way in the city because as quick as I go apply somewhere out here, they're no longer existent next week. So it's hard. But I do want to say that it's not easy for you all to take on what you guys have signed up for. And I appreciate you all for fighting for us. I stand with you all. I know it's not going to be easy. And I apologize to everybody here for everything that we got going on, but we just got to keep sticking together. It's going to get better, hopefully. And I guess one question is the rezoning of the wards. I've been here for 26 years and I've been in the second ward all my life. So for it to just randomly get rezoned, I don't know, it seems like maybe they know who lives in what ward, so it's like now you put your friends over certain wards so that you don't have access. You know, I see what's going on, but yeah, just a concern. Thank you all for listening.
So, thank you. The redistricting, every 10 years, it goes off of the census. When the census people come around and you answer the questions, or most don't answer the questions, so we don't get an actual accounting on how many people are living in every area. So we were told we had to redistrict. And we went downtown, and we agreed. We came to some battles, well, I know I did, with certain people, and they wanted to make certain wards that were, I had the smallest ward in population. So they wanted to make sure that I was even with all of the other wards who had apartment buildings and had a higher population. I also never had the end blocks on Yates, Calhoun, Bensley, Hoxie. If you went past 153rd Street, even though I would help you if you called me, you weren't part of the second ward. So when it was offered, hey, you want these blocks back? I certainly do. They were part of the 7th ward. Well, that's how we got our challenger. I was tricked into that. She lives in the apartment buildings in the 7th ward. She doesn't live in the 2nd ward. She lives in Sand Ridge Apartments. Well, on paper, because she really lives on 47th Street. Yeah.
46 like that.
Yeah. But, so we then went in, and I kept asking at the council meeting, I'm sorry, but I'm not a map girl. Can you give me the addresses on what we are looking at? Because I want to make sure these are my blocks. I caught some stuff, and I said, no, I can't give away these certain houses. I know they're part of the 2nd ward. But the mayor and the 4th ward alderman got together and they took out my voting base on my side and gave me Oglesby. Now, I don't know, it's a row of apartment buildings. And that no one in the last 3 elections have come out of those houses or apartment buildings and voted. So they knew what they were doing. And they took my good voting base and made it part of the 4th ward. But y'all will always be part of the 2nd ward. And it's no way, because I asked our attorney, not the city's attorney, I asked our slate attorney, what can I do? And they said it was nothing I could do because it had been submitted to Cook County. And so my voters were put into a different ward. My thing is, if you cannot govern with decency and transparency and things that are in order, don't govern. Just don't do it, because we deserve more than what we are being given. I've also had some very dedicated residents to the 2nd ward, but I notice now I can't even get return phone calls because they've been hired by the mayor. And I don't want to take your job. I don't want anybody to lose their job. We have more than enough overtime, which means that we have enough spaces for residents to take those jobs. You shouldn't have to not work where you live. This is one of the communities in the Southland that has an overabundance of available work. And we have skilled labor in every house. But we can't get a job. I remember moving out here when I first got married, and I applied to be a telecommunicator for the police department. I'm still waiting on to see did they review my application. It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that one alderman entire family works at Public Works, or that the mayor's whole family works at the library, Public Works, inspectional services, or another alderman mom runs inspectional services, so there may be other jobs. It shouldn't be where a state rep's mother works for Calumet City. But our own people can't get these jobs. We have people in our houses that have retired. There are jobs, part-time jobs that retired people can do. We're not given the opportunity. But nothing changes until we change it. And that is what we have to get out there and spread that message. I see you leaving Deborah Hamilton.
A whole government?
A whole government. I'm sorry, I'm visually impaired. So I saw your hand. Do you need a microphone?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm a retired school teacher, so I'm kind of used to it. My name is Cynthia Boykin, and I'm in the 6th ward. So, there, and then I talked to Ms. Starkey. But where I'm at with this election, I vote every election, whether I know you or not. Most of y'all I don't know. And several suggestions. When I had my conversation with Ms. Starkey, I suggested, she sent me a text message, and I returned her message and we talked. And I suggested that you guys, if you all are running and you want people to come out to vote, you all need to knock on doors. She's the first one since, what's his name, the one that was before you, JR.
Maxopoulos.
Yeah. He knocked on my door. But out of the 16 years that I've been in Calumet City, in the 6th ward, nobody has knocked on my door. So when I go to the library, you all have people out there wanting my vote. I don't know who you are. So in order to get people involved and you want to do this job, you all need to come out and do the job. Knock on the doors, whether they open them or not. We need to see who's asking for our vote.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I hope that you can support Dr. Stuckey because she did knock on your door. But I also have to offer this. Sometimes at council meetings, it's my husband in the meeting. That's it. Nobody from the city. And we have 2 council meetings a month.
I agree. My part, I'll hold up to me. This is like the 2nd or 3rd time I've been out to the meeting. Yeah. Out of the 16 years. But I have more time on my hands now because I'm actually retired. Right. So I can get out, and come to the meeting. So that's one thing. And then my other issue you, I want to take the test. Because I can't do it anyway. But with what you say to us as your support, and you say you want to do X, Y, Z, you need to do X, Y, Z. I don't know how you guys are going to get together as a group and represent us, but you've got to keep your word. You know, I learned that in teaching with my children. And they told, you know, when I first started, I started with faith and went all the way through 12th grade. So I've had my share of kids, and I don't have war stories about what I did as an educator. I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed my children because I treated them with the utmost respect. And in order for you to do what you say, you all got to come together because we're just like kids right now. We're watching to see what you do. We're watching to see what you say. We're watching how you handle the business. We're watching how you run your city. And we're watching what you all say about each other. Because for me, that smear tactics that you all tend to do, to me, that's a turnoff completely. And if I speak before you and I talk about you to somebody else, I'm no better than you. Talk about what you are going to do. You know, okay, so whatever Thaddeus has done, and it was done, set up like 3-4 years ago or whatever. Okay, but it got done. You know, we need to focus more on what we are doing versus what we're not doing. You know, and like exactly what I was 73 this year, and I'm sick and tired of the nonsense. You know, I mean, that goes all the way to the White House. There's no reason we should be doing the same kind of garbage that he's doing. So I'm looking for you all to keep your word. You know, I haven't decided on everybody that I'm going to go with, but I am going to go. Okay? So I got this. Okay, I just now these are questions. Snow removal. This is the first I've heard of Cal City happening. I'm a senior, and up until I think almost 3 years ago, I've been shoveling my snow. I never lived this, but notice how I say this. They say I have a heart condition. I don't claim it, but I do what they tell me to do. So my driveway hasn't been shoveled, but you know it hasn't been high enough to really be totally concerned about it. But I still like to have a clean driveway. So how do seniors get on that pitch? You know, what do we have to do?
So what the mayor would like you to do is contact his office directly. If you do not call his office directly, you won't be on the list.
Okay. Well, see, that's the first, I mean, I can say 16 years.
Yeah, so it never was a program. It's only happening because he wants to remain in office.
That's it.
So if he's offering it and your tax dollars are paying for it, get on that list.
Okay. Sadly, like I said, I didn't know. Because see, that's something that the Alderman should be dedicated, especially.
Well, so I'm going to say this. This is majority of the council. The nasty texts and letters you receive, that's coming from your mayor. That's not coming from the majority of the council. So he's not going to let us know. It's discussed in meetings that he airs somewhere. I don't know where he airs them. I go live from my meetings.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, if the program, whether it's just this year or last year, you know, you all know who the seniors are.
It's supposed to be in that newsletter you get.
Okay, I don't see it. So maybe
Yeah.
I don't.
But you can call the 891-8106 number. Even if you leave a message, one of his secretaries will take it down for him and send you your information to Public Works. You can also speak to either Alderman Patton or Dr. Stuckey.
Okay. So, a couple more questions, I promise.
No, this is the time for your questions.
So, you talked about the senior deduction. Are they going to increase the senior, like the senior freeze? Will there be an increase in the amount that we are allowed to have as income?
You're talking about about property taxes?
Yes.
That goes through Larry Rogers' office. The municipality, we do not handle any exemptions for taxes, any of that. We have the basic knowledge on what it is and where we can direct you. But that's a Cook County question.
Okay, thank you for that. And is that the same thing for the circuit breaker program?
Yes, so that does not exist. It exists in Northwest Indiana and some of your red cities. But Cook County does not have it. It is something that elected officials are pushing through a bipartisan plan to have Cook County look at. It's just too much infighting on the state level for anything to really get done.
Okay. And then the last, you mentioned that we just, this thing, what happened tonight, my son was not perfect. So, how do we know that if and when we've been put in enough reward, or we're still in the same, how do we know that?
So if, 6th Ward,
What's your address?
361 166 Street.
You're still in the 6th ward. But if you want, and the broader answer is the maps are on the city's website. They're not good maps. So as Alderwoman Wilson said, if you're not good at reading maps, they're very hard to read. But you are still in the 6th ward.
Okay. And then the last thing, you live in 400 house. What are you talking about when you say that?
400 houses are on the snow removal.
Oh, okay.
And so they say that they qualify because they're either seniors or disabled. I personally know a couple houses on there. They got 30-year-olds living in the house. They could go shovel that snow.
All right. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can I respond? Can I say something?
You can.
Okay. I just wanted to say, Ms. Boykin, thank you for coming out tonight. We had a very interesting conversation. I really appreciate the feedback that you have given to me. And Ms. Boykin is a perfect example of how teamwork can make this community better. She has a lot of good ideas that when we put them together, we have some ways in which that we can help our youth and help our community and just make things better and safer for our community. So I really appreciate you coming out tonight.
Ms. Boykin, I want to also say, you asked, what are we going to do and how will you know what we're going to do? We're doing it. We're doing it. And how will you know what we're going to do? Because Ms. Boykin is going to keep us accountable.
Yeah.
Whoever is in these seats, you're going to keep us accountable. Everybody that lives here and pays taxes is going to keep us accountable. We work for you. That's how you'll know.
Thank you.
So really quick, what I want to say to you all is that for the last 10 to 12 years, the city clerk has created a calendar. And on that calendar, all of the information about your city is on the calendar. And so that calendar sends a lot of hints because what I realized when I became the clerk is that no one came to the city council meetings. So on that calendar that you had, that was in the back for you guys to take, that we send out from starting in like November, there's a city council meeting every second and fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. at City Hall, where public comment section is at 6 p.m. So you get there at 6 p.m. If you have something that you want to say to the city council, that is the time to address the council. Also, in addition, the agenda must be posted online. So you can read what's on the agenda of that city council meeting 48 hours prior to. Also, as the city clerk, so legally, you only have to have, I think, the year and the year before minutes online. This city clerk has made sure that all the minutes from 2011, when I was first elected city clerk, to present is on the website. So you can go back to each year for 15 years and look and see those minutes. So I know that you mentioned knocking on doors. So I know that now we're knocking, and so we typically walk a lot, and JR and I knock with each, I knock with Stuckey and each person up here. And we can knock on 50 doors, and probably 8 people will open the door. So we leave literature. Sometimes if it's cold, the literature may blow off, so you may not know if I'm there. During the year, I love to walk particularly in the summertime, but I may not encounter everybody because there's a lot of residents and there's a lot of wards when you're citywide. So I will make a better effort to make sure that I'm gonna drag Arady out now because now she can come walking with me, and JR will make time to make sure that we're out in the street and we partner with each other and make sure that we come to these type of events. So when Alderwoman Wilson have her 65 meetings, I make sure that I come so I have an opportunity to address you all. One of the things that I said in the meeting the other day is that we work for you. You are our boss, and you have to hold us accountable. You tell us what to do. It's not we tell you what to do. You tell us what to do. That's really the power that you have. So when you talk about the money, and you talk about the budget, and you talk about the property tax, and you talk about everything, it will not change if you do not show up. It will not change if you do not speak out. Politicians do whatever you allow them to do. And so if you allow them to do what it is they want to do, primarily that's what they're going to do. And so what's happening now is basically, it's like if you give me your money and I go to the store and I mismanage it and you never read the receipt. And I'm going to the store for you for years and years and years and you're not reading your receipt. And that's what's happening here in the city. You have to read your receipts. And we are obligated as a city to produce and provide receipts. And your agenda and your minutes are your receipts. And if you do not understand how to read or decipher or don't understand what's on the agenda, you can always call me. Or you can always just come to the meeting and say, hey, I do not understand agenda item number 4. Explain it to me. And I dare someone to say, we didn't explain it to you. They would look awful. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm just saying that. So you guys got to show up. And you guys got to make us do what it is that we're supposed to do. It is about accountability. So those are also times where you can see us. Some people can watch it on, what is it? Is it aired? I'm sorry.
Not live anymore.
So it was previously aired live, but it's not aired live anymore, so we can get cut out. Because then when we are saying something, and Alderwoman Wilson, which is one of the reasons why she go live all the time, is because she really wants to have a record of what's happening, because visually what's being recorded is not what you will see when it's replayed. You see what I'm saying? And all these games are being played because it's just allowing. You got to, and I hate to say that. You say what we're supposed to do. I'm telling you, you're allowing this. I'm telling you that everything that's happening, you are allowing. Get up, take your city back, sit people down. We shouldn't just do it at election time. And so you should hold us accountable. There's been, I remember there was some big event that happened when I was the city clerk years ago. And there were like 75 people that came and we sat there and had to listen to all 75 people. And typically you get 3 minutes, and the clerk is supposed to keep you minutes, right? And so then the clerk tell you, oh, Ms. Boykin, your 3 minutes is up. So the mayor looked at me to tell me 3 minutes. I'm not about to tell Ms. Boykin, you tell the mayor. I'm not telling her to sit down. So we sat there for 6 hours and listened to all 75 people talk however long they wanted to talk that night. And that was it, because I'm not about to tell you to sit down if we have 75 people, so y'all can jump on me when I come outside. That wasn't getting ready to happen. So again, because I was scared. I'm like, no, you gotta let them say what they can say, but that was the only time. If you are just extremely angry, do you come out and make sure that we are doing our job? You have to do that. Rotate, get in a pod and rotate. You go January, you go February, whatever it is you guys want to do. Or always download it or look at the agenda on the website or the minutes. Or call me and ask me. It's my job. I'm a full-time city clerk. So if you call me and ask me, I'm going to call you back. I'm going to call you back and I'm going to talk to you. What happened? And I'm going to give you the facts, because that's my job. I'm a factual person. I'm an administrator. I'm not going to tell you anything. And if I have to, I've been signing people up for mail-in ballots. and they'll ask me a question. And I'll say, I can't answer that question right now, because I'm the clerk right now. But I'll call you back after 5 o'clock and tell you. At 5 o'clock, I'll call you back. Yeah, so remember earlier you was asking, yeah, vote for me. You know what I'm saying? And so that is what you guys have to do. You have to take accountability for your city. You have to take responsibility. And that information is available to you, and I'm telling you exactly how to do it. And that's all I can say about that. That's the best advice I can give you.
And I know.
Punch numbers.
Let me get a question down. What's your punch number?
Yes, I can get out of here.
My punch number is 3. My punch number is 3. I'm first on the ballot, and yield to T. Figs, city clerk.
Not first on the ballot.
Yeah.
I'm first on the ballot in the clerk section.
In the clerk section. AI is first on the ballot.
Number one.
For mayor, but we're not running against each other.
Yeah.
So I'm on the ballot.
So I know there's some questions up here, so we're gonna, okay.
But as I make my exit, I just want to say, everybody, we want to hold them accountable, but we have to hold ourselves accountable as taxpayers first. If we don't go to city council meetings, guess what? That's what we miss out at. So while we put the blame on them, let's put it on us. Let's start attending these meetings to find out what's going on. If you attend the meetings, you will see the blatant disrespect that our mayor does to his council. You will see the blatant disrespect that our mayor does to his council. Anytime they have questions and want things answered, he wants to go into executive session. And that could last for hours as we sit there. So if you are on social media, my alderwoman gets on and she goes live for us to watch it. You can watch it anytime, go replay on social media, on Facebook, and she's sitting there playing. So I release best wishes. God got y'all and y'all got this.
Thank you.
Everybody
Can we have a gentleman just walk them out, because it's dark out there. Thank you, sir. Who had a question? Was another.
I just want the question that the lady in the back was talking about the snow removal.
Yes.
I was told, yes, you have to go every year and sign up for it, because if you don't, you won't get it, even though they haven't been out. Because they say they don't know if you're still alive or you still live there or whatever. So every year you have to go and sign up for it.
That it shouldn't be, and the older people know who's in the ward, and we know what houses are vacant. We know where we don't want. I've adjusted my list because we've had several people pass, and we've removed them from the list. He's saying that he was told that every year he has to sign up because the city doesn't know if the people that live in the house have passed. So they don't want to shovel the snow. But it is not, it's just like speed bumps. I don't submit a brand new list. I may submit a list that I've added blocks. I have the most speed bumps in any ward. I use everybody up here's money for speed bumps.
I want to say something before everybody. I got a question.
But I
think I'm one of the youngest people in here. I said one of, right? So I'm speaking from a regular constituent, a regular resident. Let me ask y'all a question. Because I come to these council meetings, I come to ward meetings, I go to some, I stop going to the council meetings because of what she said. But let me ask you, what would get you out your house and engaged in your community? What, other than a complaint fest and pointing your fingers at who ain't doing what, will get you out your house and active? This is the real question. This is not rhetorical. I'm expecting responses. What will get you out of your house and active in the community?
I don't think the question is for the folks here because they are out of their houses.
No.
They usually are the ones that come.
That's not my question. Outside of things like this. Because this is where we can come, we can listen. I'm talking about community activity. What would get you out? What would get you engaged outside of coming to something like this, a ward meeting, a town hall meeting? What excites you? What do you want to see? What would get you to come out to engage into your community? Because those are the things that when we leave here and we make plans when we take seats, that we can start to implement some of those things for you ahead of time so we can hit the ground running. Outside of infrastructure, we know we need to get infrastructure together. We know we need to open up the jobs for the people in the community. We know about those things. But we also want to build community, right? So what's going to get you out? What's interesting to you? What will bring you outside of your house for you to come and check out? I know we got jazz on the grass, okay? But outside of something like that, what will bring you outside of your house?
Bingo.
What are you interested in? What goes on in other communities you might want to see in your community that might bring you outside?
To your question, I know I have a different accent. I'm from Ghana. My accent is different from yours. So bear with me.
It's just fine. Your accent is fine.
Yeah, the mic would help. Yeah. That's too
And while you're talking, we have 3 minutes to clear the church, so we're gonna.
Oh no.
What do we need? Like, I remember
I
there was
asked
a
about
time,
Christopher Carr.
Miss Yoda, the city
Hold it closer. Thank you.
organized an event when she brought food to serve the needy ones. And then, actually, I own Grace and Leaves by Farm, so I also sent something. So I think if you're doing something like that, that will help too. So can I please go on, since I have the chance?
Yes.
Okay. 506 Burnham Avenue, that's where my business is. Then the tax there is very, very expensive. It's 13,000 something. And the building is very small. I went to the assessor's office in downtown. They said I should go to our meetings and tell them because Calumet City has 21% tax, whilst Chicago has 6% or 7%. That's what they told me there. So she even printed out something and gave it to me, but I don't know where I put it. I should have brought it here for evidential purpose. So please do something about the taxes, because that business there is not the parking lot that I'm paying taxes for is not generating any profit. It's just there. Now you can see people are wearing wigs, so they are not doing braids like it used to be. So business is very, very, very bad. I can't even get money to register my business. And then the registration, Calumet City registration, business registration fee is a killer. It's too bad. We used to pay $150 to get your license every year. But now you have to pay a lot of money. I said, no, I can't even pay. Honestly, I can't pay. If they come to kick me out, it's because I can't pay to register. The city registration, I cannot afford it. My colleagues are in Chicago. They don't even pay even $250, and it's 2 years, every 2 years. So what is going on in Calumet City? And there's no business. Please, business license fee. Some people might have big, big businesses, so maybe that business fee might not be anything to them. But we, those who have the small businesses, somebody like me, now you don't even get braiders to come to your shop, because when they come, we don't get customers anymore. So I alone will be there, and because I have my chairs there, maybe I have 4 chairs, but I don't have 4 workers. They said I have to pay for each chair when I'm doing the registration. The chairs are there. I can't park them anywhere, and I'm the only one working there. So, but since the chairs are there, if they come in for inspection, I have to pack the chairs and hide them. No. So I don't think those things are fair. Thank you.
No, thank
If
you.
you can do something about it, and I appreciate it.
And I will say that is something that we will be working on, because what you're paying for is the overspending. And so they have to make it up some way. And they're charging you. When I was over permits and licenses, I fought for the animal hospital. They wanted to make that $750 registration fee for seniors who are bringing their cats in. You know, they don't have that kind of money, because then the animal hospital will go up on their fees, their services for their pets. But we see an astronomical rate in businesses businesses. And if we don't do right by our small businesses, no larger business is gonna come here. We have to take care of you. You thought enough of us to keep your business here. This administration will think enough of you to make sure that you stay here.
And I have my residence, I have a house there, 915 William Street. That's my house there. I pay my taxes, my everything goes there. So I need help from Calumet City. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, the township can help you with your taxes. Yeah.
Question and statement. I don't have the answer, but I have a suggestion. Because it's real valid.
Yeah.
The only way to find out or to know is to do a survey, because people have concern but lack motivation.
Absolutely. I
So in order to find out what it takes for their motivation, you have to do a survey.
I agree.
Because other than that, people are always going to say they have concern. Well, how would you know what motivation they lack if you can't hear from them? And the only way to hear from them is to do a survey,
That makes sense.
which you shouldn't have to do, but that's what required
But
to
that's
get a
what
real
community
house.
engagement is. We must survey our residents to know what the needs are so that we can address them on that level. So if a survey is necessary, then a survey is what will take place.
That's just like, you can have a meeting. Only certain people gonna speak out, but then you always got this side bar for all the conversation. That's the same way with politics.
Always. I
People
sent out-
got a lot of complaints, but they don't do what needs to be done.
I personally sent out over 3,000 text messages reminding everybody about this meeting. Look to your left, look to your right.
Oh, wow.
Look in front of you, look behind you.
And then people want to complain.
But then tomorrow, I will get somebody, usually off of, sorry, Ms. Dent Calhoun, that will say, you don't have no meetings. But we do have them.
Well, see, unfortunately, like I said, I got good neighbors because
Yeah, you do.
as long as I've been living out here, I usually didn't come to the meetings. And then I used to always ask them questions. They were like, well, why you don't go to the meeting? And I'm like,
Because you got the best older woman in the town.
I'm like, I'm at home, I don't work. I didn't have an excuse, so I had to start coming out.
Thank you for that, though. We thank you for your effort.
Well, that's because I can be honest, and
We hope you do.
until more, what I'm saying is, until more people start being more honest and open,
Yeah.
we're gonna continue to laugh.
So we're going to take Mr. Davis, and then we're going to close out with Brian.
I have to talk about Christopher Clark, and I'm very
Okay.
mad because some of the residents left already, and I want them to know about Christopher Clark.
Okay.
He's
So-
taking your money.
Mr. Davis,
Yeah.
he's our phone bagger that ain't called nobody.
That's two now you can call now.
I don't know what she's talking about. Anyway, I started out trying to give the mayor the benefit of the doubt. And over the last 4 years, I've just been watching, going to the meetings like I can't get up the stairs too good, but I go to a lot of the meetings and I get to hear a lot of stuff, just like you said. If you go to the meeting, you will hear how this mayor treat his comrades.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad. And I'm surprised that the papers don't pick it up like they do Dalton, but it's a lot. It's a lot that this mayor does. That just, you know, I remember the time, I've been in 40 years. I remember the time when we used to have parades on Wentworth, and it was a beautiful time. They had sports cars and the high school band. And speaking of the high school band, a school student used to design the stickers car stickers for the cars. I don't hear anything like that. Fireworks, we used to sit on Pulaski Road and watch the fireworks. All of that now you got to sit in your car. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous how this stuff and jazz in the grass just don't appeal to me. I love music, but I got music at home. You know, it's just The thing is, I just wanna compliment you guys for standing in there, because I would say the wrong thing if I had to get in front of them. You know, I really would.
We've all done it.
Not me, everything I say is right.
I just got one other thing, the FOIA. Is it hard to get the FOIA, the receipt, and show the people this is where your money's going?
So we're gonna go to Ryan on that one.
I would say that's a perfect segue. Yeah.
And then, so we'll end with Mr. Fields.
Right.
Ryan is a reporter from Harvey, but he's also running for school board in Harvey, where I used to teach District 152.
Oh, he did. He probably told me that and I forgot.
Yeah.
What did you teach him?
Jim. Health
Oh,
education.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Ryan. I do the Harvey Historical Society. I also have the Chicago South End Politics Facebook page, so we're live right now on that. But I just wanted to obviously let the folks running know, but more importantly, you as the residents. That's why I'm mad that some of the people left out early, because our mayor in Harvey, Christopher Clark, he was hired by his friend, Thaddeus Jones. You pay him more than $90,000 a year. Now, that's not going to solve all your money problems, but if you fire him, you'll have $90-some thousand more a year, won't you? So I want you to go out and vote so you can fire his, you know what, get him out of your city, because he arrested me for simply videoing in a meeting. He had my alderwoman arrested twice falsely for asking how the money is spent. Do you notice a pattern? What mayor does that sound like? The gentleman here said it. And we have state residents that are the same. They're like, I can't even come to the meetings because if I come, I know I'm just going to cuss the mayor out. You know, and so please get rid of him. He doesn't, and I asked the clerk, I said, well, why did you hire him? What did he do? And then the ladies told me, well, we never voted to hire him. It was Mayor Jones, and he doesn't do anything. He's the FOIA officer. And get this, one of the most unethical mayors that I know of, he is your ethics officer. So if Enyota had a complaint about how the mayor was treating her, let's say some of the nasty texts that she got, she technically would complain to Christopher Clark, which is like, all of us in Harvey, we laugh. We're like, ethics? What is he gonna do? He treats women just as bad as his buddy Thaddeus. So please know that that's a huge waste of your money. Also, I'm a realtor, so I do have to say I'm going to join with your comment. And the realtors want to just do not nice things to your whole building department, to the point where I've had realtor colleagues who said, I will never sell a house. I'm serious. You guys have to change this. I will never sell a house in Calumet City again. The building department, one of them said they asked them to come maybe like 3 times to, get stamps or something. And the staff still didn't have it together. It almost ruined the deal for many realtors. So whether it's inspections, fees, they claim of getting extorted, because they'll say, oh yeah, you can sell your house, but in order to pass the inspection, the Calumet City inspection, you have to get this fixed. Oh, and you can only hire this approved list of plumbers from Calumet City. And they're like, well, wait, but I already have a plumber. Oh, sorry, well, we didn't approve of him. And I mean, this has been going on for years and years. So I just had to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you for making it.
All right, I just wanted to say that actually I had a question, but I also want to commend you residents for showing up, because life is short, and if we're able to come together for a common purpose, I think that should stand for something at least, and I want to commend you all at the front as well, because you're giving the residents an opportunity, whereas there are elected officials or, candidates running that aren't making themselves so available. But these people up here are, and that stands for something as well. But I'd like to ask if Calumet City has any block clubs or some type of setup where, where a block committee could be set up where one representative can show up.
We have the Alderwoman's Block Program, building leaders on our corners. Every street in Calumet City has a block representative. You don't have to be an elected official to make a difference. And so many of the people that you see are active on their block. There go Manistee over there. Okay. Memorial. Hoxie. Calhoun. Yes.
There we
So
go.
Second Ward, we do that.
Good.
Because
Good
we
deal.
believe in community. If it hurts one, it's hurt too many, but if we can help one, we have helped a whole community.
Absolutely. I know that's right. And you can put the unity in community, but don't forget communication goes a long way. You know, go back to that block and talk to your neighbors. You got to. It's the only way it's gonna work. You gotta communicate.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay, well,
Okay. Do you have animal control? There was a time because of animal control.
animal control, we do have right?
We still have.
Well, you know what, some of them quit. But we have the department though, it's still there.
What's the number, please? I have animals disturbing me. I can't sleep in the night.
I don't have it, we'll get it for you.
Ron, is it 8199?
Sorry?
So with animal control, it's a voicemail. You must leave a voicemail, must leave a message. They do check it and they will come out and do whatever it is you ask for. There's also, are you having problems with animals? I mean like rodents and things like that?
Yeah, in the night, my ceiling is like somebody wants to enter my house with a loud noise and I can't sleep. It scared me.
So we have a track and trap program, which is free for you. And you can go on the city's website and actually apply right there. And the company will come out and bring out traps.
I have a number.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you had a question. Do you need the microphone?
No.
Okay.
But what I really want to know is, what are you going to do with the youth in our communities that need to be connected and brought into the community so they can help solve some of their problems?
I'm glad you asked. So, I don't know where he went. He might have walked. I don't know where he went. My husband is Cortland D. Wilson. He's in the hallway. He's the executive director of the Tomorrow's Youth Foundation. He was just named Crane's Business Chicago's top 80 nonprofit leaders. He will also be on the ballot April 1st for Park District Commissioner. He runs the Calumet City Chargers National Youth Football and Cheer Program, plus the mentoring programs that are rites of passage. Those programs, the mentoring programs, the outreach programs, the mental wellness programs, the violence prevention programs are free to our children in Calumet City. It is just getting a space. Sometimes if we use the Park District, we pay $50 to $100 an hour to rent that. This church has opened up their doors so we can do counseling for the children. Anytime you hear a gunshot, you should have a counselor on that. They are traumatized. The city of Calumet City has received over $1 million for violence prevention programs, yet we don't have one at all. And unfortunately, the mayor's wife oversees those funds. We don't get them. We don't have counselors. We don't have anything. When our Little League football team was in the city of Chicago and a man came on the field while our 7-year-old, 8-year-old babies are playing football and started shooting at the other side, we had to call Thornton Township. Supervisor Hinyard sent mental health specialists here to this church. We ushered our babies from Chicago here because we had none. I called our city. You got all this violence prevention money. Where are the counselors? So now the Tomorrow's Youth Foundation, we hire our own counselors. We have Dr. Stuckey, who will be on council, who can do that as well. There are a network of a lot of nonprofits here in Calumet City. We work together, and we try to filter all of our youth in one program. Right now, Tomorrow's Youth Foundation has an automotive academy for children 11 all the way through adults, so they can learn about what's new. And candidate Aradia Clark, she knows about turning engines into electric vehicles, where these kids are learning how to work on electric cars, because that's the wave of the future.
We have a lot here, but if you're not politically connected, it never gets out to you. I could send in 4 pages of things to go in that newsletter of actual information. It won't make it. Because they want you to only see pictures of Burlington Coal Factory. When the last time y'all been to a Burlington Coal Factory? They not building Burlington Coal Factories. We have to beg to keep Walgreens open. So we have to stop allowing ourselves to be fooled by photos.
And one of those problems is the taxes are so high.
Yes.
Even the commercial aspect, because I don't live in Calumet City, I live in Parkport. We just lost our grocery store and a Walgreens.
Yeah.
Because they kind of paying these super high property taxes.
But one of the things is here, a big business will get a tax break before a homeowner. And homeowners, we just have to start stepping up. We cannot live in fear. God did not give us a spirit of fear. As we make our way home, I am asking you all to be safe, to watch your surroundings. I thank you for coming. I ask you to stop by that table in the back and take some of that, because the older woman has gained 30 pounds and she don't need no more sweets. Okay. The city clerk has these magnets on the back. It has every number that you need on it. So please take that. And take those purple calendars. They should be orange, but she don't know no better.
Yes, you do.
Oh, one last thing. We will be here worshiping on Sunday at 12:15. If you would like to come to this church service, I've had the honor of being here several times, and Episcopal Vicar Montgomery is a fantastic pastor. So please, come back on Sunday, 12:15.
Thank you for that information. We're gonna make sure we get the information is reasonable. Yes. Right now. Yes.